She's done, folks. NBC has reversed its decision to hire former RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel after serious blowback from on-air staff at NBC and MSNBC and people in the audience as well. I know people in my audience emailed NBC and said, "What are you guys doing?" As I've said before, the problem is not having right-wing voices on air. I think every network should do that. Reasonable right-wing voices, even extreme right-wing voices, as long as they are not normalizing those who sought to jeopardize and destroy the basic democratic pillars and institutions on which this country is based. And that's what Ronna McDaniel tried to do. As RNC Chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel participated in the attempt to put together a fake slate of electors to try to make Trump the president despite losing the election. She hesitated and refused to say for long periods of time, Biden won and he won fair and square. And then NBC hired her, and NBC and MSNBC on-air talent were saying, wait, now we're supposed to interview her like she's just a normal person? So the Washington Post now reports NBC reverses decision to hire Ronna McDaniel after on-air backlash. The network's biggest stars had lambasted the hiring across MSNBC's lineup Monday, with more critiques expected this week. Now, I know that there are going to be the usual low information suspects who think they've got the big brains, who are going to say, see, they've taken away her free speech. This is not about free speech. This is about no one has a right to be a paid contributor on these networks. And NBC and MSNBC can use whatever standard they want to determine who should be a paid contributor. They thought this was a good idea. They now believe it is not. And if it's because they realize we don't want our entire on-air talent to be pissed at us, that's valid. If it's because they had a change of heart and realized maybe we don't want an insurrectionist in our payroll, that's absolutely fine as well. They're not discriminating against Ronna McDaniel because of her race or her gender or her religious beliefs. They've made a business decision that right-wingers say businesses should be allowed to make, and in fact argue is the most important thing. Now, if the government were suppressing her speech or some such thing, that would be a different story. As a reminder, here are a number of the different statements made by NBC and MSNBC on-air staff over the last couple days about this hire.
I'll be joined by former RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel in her first interview since stepping down as party chair. In full disclosure to our viewers, this interview was scheduled weeks before it was announced that McDaniel would become a paid NBC News contributor. This will be a news interview, and I was not involved in her hiring.
I think our bosses owe you an apology for putting you in this situation. And look, there's a reason why there's a lot of journalists at NBC News uncomfortable with this, because many of our professional dealings.
People wondering what the music is. This is a supercut from the recount, and the recount has apparently added a drum beat to this.
At the RNC over the last 6 years have been met with gaslighting, have been met with character assassination.
We weren't asked our opinion of the hiring, but if we were, we would have strongly objected to it.
NBC News, either wittingly or unwittingly, is teaching election deniers that what they can do stretches well beyond appearing on our air in interviews to peddle lies about the sanctity and integrity of our elections, but that they can do that as one of us, as badge-carrying employees of NBC News.
There is an easy way to avoid the controversy NBC News has stumbled into. Don't hire anyone close to the crimes.
She literally backed an illegal scheme to steal an election in the state of Michigan.
That is the type of experience that Ronna McDaniel brings to the table. And that experience does not get us to a deeper understanding of anything in the public debate.
I want to associate myself with all my colleagues, both at MSNBC and at NBC News, who have voiced loud and principled objections to our company putting on the payroll someone who hasn't just attacked us as journalists, but someone who is part of an ongoing project to get rid of our system of government.
So this is not about there shouldn't be dissenting opinions among the ranks. This is not about these should just be exclusively left-wing networks or any of it. As many of you know, there are all sorts of diversities of views that are present on a number of different networks, some more than others. But this is the idea that it's a bridge too far to put NBC and MSNBC on-air talent in a position to have to pretend that this is a normal person to have providing analysis. Give us the motivation for trying to subvert democracy, Ronna, and take a pretty paycheck for it. So I have no issue whatsoever with Ronna McDaniel being interviewed on NBC, MSNBC, or anywhere in the way that I would interview her, which is as former RNC chairwoman who tried to subvert democracy and went along with one of the most vile and disgusting schemes we've seen to hold on to power when power is supposed to be something you earn democratically rather than something you take. So it's the right decision to get rid of her. It's not a First Amendment issue. It's not a free speech issue. And we will see what comes next. You know, she'll probably get a job at Fox or Newsmax or something like that. She's going to do fine. Don't you worry. But NBC making the right decision. And for those saying NBC only made the decision because of pressure. Yeah, okay. I mean, listen, I don't see NBC or Fox or MSN. I don't see any of these platforms as inherently guided by morality and ethics. I see them as inherently guided by profit and political expediency. It became inconvenient to have Ronna McDaniel there. We know it wasn't over ethical concerns that they got rid of her because they weren't concerned about that when they hired her, but it's still the right decision, and that's what matters. One of the most disturbing news stories of the last year is how the FBI, NSA, and other law enforcement and intelligence agencies are buying the internet browsing histories of millions of Americans. If they buy the data in bulk from data brokers who get it from internet service providers, they don't even need a search warrant, and the feds can know about everything you do online. That's why I use a service called Incogni. Our sponsor, Incogni, automatically goes to every major data broker and demands they remove your data from their records, which they are legally required to do if asked. They will even follow up with each data broker to make sure your data is really gone. They'll keep you updated every step of the way with progress. But using Incogni doesn't just keep your data safe from the government. Many other parties get your personal information from data brokers like hackers and spam callers, even ex-significant others or employers, ex-employers. My audience gets 60% off. Super easy. Go to incogni.com/Pacman. Use the code Pacman. The link is down below.